He helped a lost girl, unaware she was a billionaire's daughter, but that single decision would pull a struggling graduate from survival on the streets into a world of danger, power, and secrets he was never meant to see. Daniel, broke and exhausted, almost walked past her, but something about the way the small girl stood, quiet, composed, and strangely fearless, made him stop. She said she was lost, but she wasn't crying. She said she forgot where she came from, but her words didn't sound like a child who simply wandered off. And then, there were the men watching. Why was a lost girl being followed? Why did she seem trained to stay calm in danger? And how could a struggling young man unknowingly step into the life of a billionaire's daughter, without realizing what he had just gotten himself into? Before you continue watching this interesting story, like, comment and subscribe to Johnny Tales channel for more emotional stories. Daniel Reeves used to believe life followed a formula. Work hard. Graduate top of your class. Get a good job. Take care of your family. Simple. At least, that's what he told himself the day he stood in his graduation gown, shaking hands with professors who promised him a bright future. That memory still lived in his head, clear, almost cruel. Because right now, there was nothing bright about his life. He stood outside a roadside food store, counting the last money in his hand. The smell of fried rice drifted toward him, tempting, almost mocking. He hadn't eaten properly since the day before. His phone buzzed. Another rejection email. Daniel didn't open it. He already knew what it would say. We regret to inform you. He slipped the phone back into his pocket and exhaled slowly. Around him, Lagos moved as if nothing was wrong, cars honking, people arguing, vendors shouting prices. Life didn't pause for struggle. It moved past you. Or over you. Daniel turned away from the store. No food today. He'd walk home instead of taking a bus. Save money. Survive one more day. As he walked down a quieter street, something caught his attention. A small figure. Standing still. A little girl. She wasn't crying. That was the first thing that felt wrong. Children who were lost cried. Panicked. Looked around for help. But this one. She just stood there. Waiting. Watching. Almost like she expected someone to come. Daniel slowed down. Then stopped completely. Something in his chest tightened. He didn't know why. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was something else. But one thought crossed his mind. If I walk away now, something bad might happen. And for reasons he couldn't explain. Daniel didn't walk away. He stepped toward her instead. Hey, are you okay? The girl turned. Her eyes met his. Come. Too come. My name is Eva, she said. A slight pause. Then. I think I'm lost. Daniel frowned slightly at her words. You think you're lost? He asked, crouching down to her level. Eva nodded, like that was the most normal thing in the world. I remember being in a car, she said slowly, choosing her words carefully. Then I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. Daniel's stomach tightened. That wasn't confusion. That sounded like something had happened. He glanced around again, still no worried parent, no one calling a name, no panic in the air. Too quiet. What about your parents? He asked. Do you know their number? She shook her head. Address. Another shake. Then she added softly. My dad said if I ever got lost, I should find someone kind. Daniel let out a quiet breath. Well, I guess you found me. But even as he said it, something didn't sit right. As he stood up, his eyes caught something he hadn't noticed before. Her shoes. They were slightly dusty, but unmistakably expensive. Not something a random child would wear. Then her posture. Straight back. Controlled movements. Even the way she spoke, polite, measured. This wasn't just upbringing. This was training. Have you eaten? Daniel asked. Eva hesitated. then shook her head. Okay, he said gently. Let's fix that first. They walked into a small eatery nearby. As soon as they sat, Eva adjusted her seat neatly and placed her hands on her lap. Waiting. Not touching anything. Daniel blinked. You can eat, he said. I know, she replied softly. I'm just waiting. For what? For you to start first. Daniel paused. That was when it hit him. This girl didn't just come from a good home. She came from a very structured one. As the food arrived, Eva glanced briefly toward the glass window. Her expression changed. Just slightly. Barely noticeable. But Daniel saw it. What is it? He asked quietly. She leaned closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. That car has been there before. Daniel's heart skipped. Slowly. He turned his head. Outside. A black SUV sat parked. Engine running. And someone inside was watching. Daniel didn't turn immediately. Years of struggling in Lagos had taught him one thing. Never react too fast when something feels wrong. Instead, he picked up his spoon and took a slow bite, acting normal. Don't look again, he murmured. Eva nodded, but her fingers tightened slightly around her cup. That small movement said everything. She was scared. Daniel's mind began to race. Okay, think. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just a random car. But then again, why would a child notice it? Why would she whisper? Why did her voice sound like she already understood danger? That wasn't normal. He needed to confirm. Casually, Daniel leaned back in his chair and stretched, pretending to relax. In that split second, he glanced outside. Same SUV. Same position. Same stillness. And now, he saw it clearly. Two men inside. Not talking. Not moving. Just watching. A cold wave ran through his chest. That wasn't coincidence. That was intention. Daniel leaned forward again, lowering his voice. We're leaving, he said calmly. Eva looked at him. Now, she whispered. Yes. But the food? Leave it. He stood up, dropping some cash on the table, more than he could afford. Not waiting for change. Not explaining. The waitress called after him, confused. But he didn't stop. They moved toward the back exit. Each step felt heavier. Slower. Like time itself was stretching. Daniel could feel it. That invisible pressure. The kind that comes when you know someone is watching you walk away. As they stepped outside into the narrow alley, Daniel exhaled. But not in relief. In preparation. Hold my hand, he said. Eva obeyed immediately. No questions. That told him something else. She was used to instructions. Used to situations where she had to trust quickly. Why are they following me? She asked softly as they walked. Daniel didn't answer. Because the truth was, he didn't know. But his instincts were screaming one thing. This wasn't just about a lost girl. Behind them, from the front of the building, a car door opened. Daniel heard it. Didn't turn. Didn't slow down. But his grip on Eva's hand tightened. Walk faster, he said quietly. Eva matched his pace. Small legs. Quick steps. No complaints. That was when Daniel realized something that made everything worse. She wasn't just scared. She was trying to stay calm. Like she had been taught how. And that meant one thing. This wasn't the first time danger had been close to her. But he could hear it. Footsteps. Not rushed. Measured. Confident. The kind of footsteps that didn't chase because they knew you couldn't escape. Don't run, Daniel whispered. Just walk. Eva held his hand tightly. Her small fingers trembled now. That come from before. It was cracking. They turned into a narrower street. Dim lights. Fewer people. Safer for hiding. Or worse for being trapped. Daniel's mind raced. Think. He knew these streets. Every shortcut. Every broken fence. Every alley that led somewhere or nowhere. Behind them. A voice. Hey. Daniel's chest tightened. He didn't respond. Stop. That confirmed it. Not normal. Not safe. Daniel, Ava's voice shook slightly. It was the first time she sounded like a child. I'm scared. That hit him hard. Stay with me, he said firmly. I won't let anything happen to you. He didn't know if that was true. But he needed her to believe it. They turned sharply into an alley. Daniel quickly pulled her behind a stack of old crates. Stay quiet, he whispered. Ava nodded, pressing close to him. Her breathing uneven. Small. Fragile. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. Then. They stopped. Right outside the alley. Daniel held his breath. Ava buried her face slightly into his arm. Then, in the smallest whisper. I remember something. Daniel didn't move. What? He whispered. Her voice trembled. There was a man, talking to someone, he said. She paused. Trying to remember. Then. He said. If we lose her now, we may never get another chance. Daniel's blood ran cold. That wasn't random. That wasn't confusion. That was intent. The footsteps resumed. Slower now. Searching. Daniel's heart pounded. Because now he understood something clearly. These men weren't just looking for a lost girl. They were waiting for an opportunity. And somehow, Ava had become that opportunity. Daniel waited. 1 second. The footsteps outside the alley slowed, then stopped again. Too close. He couldn't stay here. If they searched properly, they'd find them in seconds. He leaned closer to Ava. When I say move, we run, he whispered. Her eyes widened slightly. Run where? Just follow me. All right, she said. A shadow passed across the alley entrance. Daniel didn't wait any longer. In. They moved. Fast. Silent at first, then faster as they broke into a run. Ava struggled to keep up, her small legs pushing as hard as they could. Hey! They're here! The shout exploded through the night. Daniel's heart slammed against his chest. Don't stop, he said. They turned sharply into another street. Then another. Daniel zigzagged through narrow paths, cutting corners, jumping over small gutters, routes only someone who had spent years walking the city would know. But the problem was, the men were still following. Ava stumbled. Daniel caught her quickly before she fell. I'm sorry, she said, breath shaking. You're doing great, he replied, lifting her slightly. Just hold on. For a moment, he carried her. That slowed him down. But leaving her wasn't an option. Never was. They reached a slightly busier road. People. Noise. Light. Daniel slowed his pace. Blending in. That was the only way. He set Ava down gently. Walk normal, he whispered. She nodded, trying her best to steady her breathing. As they moved through the crowd, Ava looked up at him. My dad has cars like that, she said quietly. Daniel froze for a split second. What kind of cars? He asked. She pointed slightly behind them, without turning. Big black ones, with people that watch everything. Daniel's mind raced. Security. Power. Wealth. Then she added something that changed everything. He said they protect me because some people want what belongs to him. Daniel's chest tightened. That was it. The missing piece. This wasn't random. This wasn't small. This girl was connected to something big. Daniel didn't stop walking until the noise of the main road faded behind them. Only when they reached a quieter, dimly lit street did he slow down. Almost there, he said. They climbed a narrow staircase at the side of an old building. The walls were cracked. The light bulb above flickered weakly. Daniel unlocked a small metal door and pushed it open. This is it, he said. The room was modest. One mattress on the floor. A small wooden table cluttered with papers. A standing fan that looked like it had given up long ago. Eva stepped in slowly, looking around. You live here? She asked quietly. Daniel nodded, slightly self-conscious. Yeah. He locked the door immediately and pulled the curtain over the small window. Then he exhaled. For the first time since this started. They had a moment. Sit, he said gently. Eva sat on the mattress, placing her bag beside her. She was still just a child. And the fear hadn't left her eyes. Daniel crouched in front of her. Eva. I need you to try and remember something, he said carefully. Anything about your parents. Your home. Where you were coming from. She looked down. Thinking. There was a man in front, she said slowly. Driving. Daniel nodded. And another one on the phone. She paused. Then her voice dropped slightly. He said. Mr. Whitmore won't see this coming. Daniel froze. Whitmore. The name hit something in his memory. Familiar. Too familiar. Then Eva opened her bag again. Her small fingers pulled out the sleek device. I think this helps, she said. Daniel looked at it more closely this time. Not a toy. Not normal. This was something else entirely. Who gave you this? He asked. My dad, she replied. Daniel hesitated for a moment. Then pressed the button. Nothing happened. At least. Not immediately. Eva looked at him. Will he find me now? She asked softly. Daniel didn't answer right away. Because deep down, he had a feeling. Whatever happened next was going to change everything. For a few seconds, nothing happened. No sound. No light. Just silence. Then the device vibrated. Once. Sharp. Controlled. Eva's eyes lit up slightly. That means it worked, she whispered. Daniel stared at it. His pulse quickened. Worked how? He asked. But before she could answer, his phone rang. Daniel froze. No one called him. Ever. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and looked at the screen. Unknown number. His instinct screamed not to pick it up. But something deeper told him. He had to. He answered. Hello. Silence. Then. A calm, controlled voice. Where is she? Daniel's chest tightened. Who is this? He asked carefully. A brief pause. Then. Put her on the phone. Daniel stepped back slightly, shielding Eva instinctively. I'm not handing her to anyone unless I know who I'm talking to, he said firmly. Another pause. Longer this time. Then the voice returned. Colder. You pressed the device. That was not a suggestion. Eva tugged gently at Daniel's shirt. It's him, she whispered. Daniel looked down at her. Who? My dad. Everything in him stilled. Back on the phone, the voice spoke again. You have exactly 2 minutes before my team reaches your location. Daniel's heart skipped. How do you know where I am? He asked. No answer. Just. I suggest you stay where you are. The line went dead. Daniel lowered the phone slowly. His mind raced. 2 minutes. That wasn't possible. Unless that device wasn't just a signal. It was a tracker. Eva looked up at him, hopeful. He's coming, right? Daniel nodded slowly. Yeah, he is. But something about it didn't feel simple. Didn't feel safe because if they could find her this fast, then the men from earlier might not be far behind. Outside, a car engine echoed faintly. Then another. Daniel moved toward the window and carefully lifted the edge of the curtain. Headlights. Multiple. Approaching. But then, something else. From the opposite direction. Another vehicle. Darker. Slower. And suddenly, he understood. Two sides. Same target. And suddenly, he understood. This was not over. It was just beginning. The sound of engines grew louder. Closer. Heavier. Daniel stepped back from the window, his mind racing. Eva, stay behind me, he said. She nodded, clutching her bag tightly. Headlights flooded the small room through the thin curtain. Then, silence. Not the peaceful kind. The controlled kind. The kind that comes before something powerful happens. A firm knock hit the door. Not rushed. Not aggressive. Certain. Daniel hesitated. Then opened it. A man stood there. Tall. Impeccably dressed. Calm in a way that felt unnatural for the situation. But his eyes. The moment they landed on Eva, everything else faded. Eva. She ran to him instantly. Dad. He dropped to one knee and held her tightly. For a brief moment, the powerful man disappeared. And the father remained. Daniel watched, trying to process everything. But before the moment could settle, the man stood up again. Composed. Controlled. His eyes shifted to Daniel. Sharp. Observing. You helped her, he said. Daniel nodded slowly. Yes. You didn't know who she was. No. A pause. Then. Good. Daniel frowned slightly. Good, he repeated. The man stepped inside. My name is Marcus Whitmore. The name hit Daniel instantly. Not just familiar. Famous. Billionaire. Industrialist. A man studied in classrooms. A man far above Daniel's world. I owe you an explanation, Marcus said. Eva held his hand as he spoke. This was never supposed to happen, Marcus began. My daughter was under full security escort. His voice tightened slightly. 3 vehicles. Trained personnel. Controlled route. Then. A shift. 3 weeks ago, Eva asked me a question. Flashback. Why do people act different when they know who I am? Marcus's voice softened. She wanted to understand the world without influence. Without power. Daniel listened carefully. Pieces connecting. So I created a controlled test, Marcus continued. A monitored environment. A situation where she could briefly experience anonymity. Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. You let your child walk into the world like that. Marcus didn't react defensively. It was calculated, he said. Every variable accounted for. Then. His tone darkened. Except one. A breach. Eva tightened her grip on his hand. One of the vehicles was compromised, Marcus said. Not by chance. By observation. Daniel's chest tightened. The men, he said quietly. Marcus nodded. They've been watching my operations for months. And today, Marcus continued, they saw something they shouldn't have. A moment of vulnerability. Daniel looked at Eva. Then back at Marcus. So she wasn't kidnapped. Marcus shook his head. No. A pause. Then. She slipped away during the confusion. Eva looked down slightly. I thought I was supposed to leave, she whispered. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. That was the part he hadn't planned. And they followed, Daniel finished. Marcus's gaze sharpened. Yes. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Real. Then Marcus looked directly at Daniel. And you stepped into the middle of it. The room fell into a tense silence. Daniel could feel it. Something wasn't finished. Not even close. Marcus turned slightly toward the door. Stay inside, he said to Eva. But she tightened her grip on his hand. Don't go, she whispered. Marcus softened, just for a second. I'm not leaving you, he assured her. I'm making sure no one takes you again. Then. A sharp sound outside. Tires screeching. Not controlled. Not disciplined. Aggressive. Marcus's expression changed instantly. That calm, calculated composure. Gone. Replaced with something sharper. Dangerous. They're here, he said. Daniel's chest tightened. You said your team was already outside. They are, Marcus replied. A pause. But so are they. Before Daniel could respond. Voices erupted outside. Shouting. Heavy footsteps. Then. A loud bang. Eva flinched and ran back to Daniel, clutching his shirt. He instinctively wrapped an arm around her. It's okay, he said softly, though his own heart was racing. Marcus moved toward the door but didn't open it yet. Instead, he spoke, low and precise. They won't get in easily. Another bang. Closer this time. The team walls shook slightly. Daniel looked around quickly. There was nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run. Why here? Daniel asked. Why didn't you take her immediately? Marcus didn't look at him. Because they followed the signal, he said. Daniel froze. They know she's here, Marcus continued. And if we move carelessly now, we lead them straight into a bigger disaster. That's when Daniel understood. This wasn't just about escape anymore. It was about containment. Eva looked up, her voice trembling. Are they bad people? Daniel hesitated. Marcus answered instead. Yes. Silence. Then. Eva whispered something that changed everything. They were in the car before, the one with the man talking. Marcus turned sharply. Are you sure? She nodded. That confirmed it. Same men. Same target. No coincidence. Another crash hit the building. Louder. Closer. Marcus finally turned to Daniel. His gaze steady. You know this area better than anyone here. Daniel swallowed. Yeah. Marcus stepped closer. For the next few minutes. I need you to help me protect her. Daniel looked down at Eva. Small. Terrified. Trusting him completely. He didn't hesitate. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Outside. The final barrier began to give way. And inside that small room, a struggling graduate and a billionaire stood on the same side. Waiting. The final crash came. And then. Silence. Not the tense kind from before. This time. It was controlled. Contained. Marcus didn't move immediately. He listened. Carefully. Then, slowly, he opened the door. Daniel held his breath. Outside. Men in black tactical gear stood firmly in position. Calm. Alert. In control. On the ground, a few meters away. The other men. Pinned down. Disarmed. Finished. It's over, one of Marcus's security officers said. Daniel exhaled deeply. For the first time since this began. He felt it. Relief. Eva stepped out slowly, still holding Daniel's hand. She looked around, then up at her father. They won't come back, right? She asked softly. Marcus knelt in front of her. They won't, he said gently. And this time, it wasn't just reassurance. It was certainty. Eva nodded. Then, without warning, she turned and hugged Daniel tightly. Thank you for not leaving me, she said. Daniel froze for a second. Then gently hugged her back. I couldn't, he replied. Marcus watched that moment carefully. Not as a businessman. Not as a strategist. But as a father. He stood up slowly. Daniel, he said. Daniel looked at him. You had every reason to walk away today, Marcus continued. No money. No obligation. No protection. A pause. But you didn't. Daniel shrugged slightly. She needed help. Marcus nodded. That's exactly the point. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. Sleek. Simple. Powerful. This is not a reward, Marcus said. It's an opportunity. Daniel hesitated. Daniel's chest tightened. For years, Marcus continued, I've built systems, hired experts, but I've learned something today. A brief glance at Eva. Character cannot be hid. A small silence followed. Then, if you're willing, Marcus said, I'd like you to work with me. Daniel looked around. At the small street. The broken building. The life he had been struggling to survive. Then at Eva. Safe now. Smiling slightly. And for the first time in a long time. Hope didn't feel distant. It felt real. He nodded. I'm willing. Marcus gave a small, approving nod. As they walked away. The night no longer felt heavy. Because what started as a simple act of kindness had changed everything. And Daniel finally understood. Sometimes, helping a stranger doesn't just save them. It saves you too. Kindness may look small in the moment, but it can change lives in ways you never expect. Don't wait until you have money, power, or comfort before you choose to help someone. Your character is your greatest asset. At the same time, be wise. Not every situation is simple, and doing the right thing may require courage and discernment. Daniel didn't help Eva because of who she was, he helped because it was right. And that's the lesson, do good without expecting a reward, because true kindness always finds its way back to you, often in ways greater than you imagined.